This may be the most balanced real estate market we have seen here in years. Hey there, Mount Dora enthusiasts. Today we're diving deep into the spring 2025 Mount Dora real estate market. There is a lot to unpack. If you're wondering whether to buy or sell, or you're just curious about what's happening in our local market, stick around because I've got the inside scoop, the latest trends, the numbers, the insights that will help you make your real estate decisions here in spring of 2025. If we haven't met yet, I'm Riley, your Mount Dora Realtor. I release videos each week about life and real estate here in my lovely corner of Central Florida. If you're curious about buying, selling, relocating, or investing in the area, I would love to work with you. All of my contact information is in the description box below, along with some great guides and resources, so be sure to grab those as well. But let's get into it. So what I want to do today is give you an idea of some of the numbers and trends that we're seeing here in the Mount Dora area in real estate and what I'm seeing with buyers and sellers. I also want to show you what overall Lake County looks like because Mount Dora exists in a Tri-City area with Tavares and Eustis. Both are just a 5-minute drive to Mount Dora. So there's a good chance that if you decide to make your move to the area, you may end up in one of those towns just outside of Mount Dora. There's also Clermont, Sorrento, Howey-in-the-Hills, Leesburg, all of these other areas that are within about a 10 to 20 minute drive of Mount Dora that you could end up in. So I'll give you a nice overall snapshot of what Lake County real estate looks like as well. So first things first, let's look at how many homes we currently have for sale. So this is measured with a term called inventory. And right now, Mount Dora is looking at 5.19 months of inventory. So what this means is that if no more homes were put up for sale, it would take us a little over 5 months to sell all of those homes. So a healthy amount of inventory for a local market or a balanced market looks at 5.5 months. So you can see we're really close to a balanced market. If we're under 5.5 months, that leans towards a seller's market. And if we're over, that leans towards a buyer's market. So what I'm seeing with my buyers and sellers is a very even market currently, but more on that later. In terms of homes that were added to the market in February, we currently have 83 homes on the market in Mount Dora, which is a 93% increase up from the month prior. So as homeowners start to get a little bit more confident since we're no longer in an election year, and as more snowbirds make their way down to Florida, we're seeing a lot more properties come onto the market. Now, when it comes to overall Lake County, keep in mind, Mount Dora is inside of Lake County, so those figures will be reflected here too. But we have 4.87 months of inventory. So Lake County is still leaning a little bit more towards the seller's market, meaning sellers have the upper hand, whether that be because there are fewer homes in the market, like areas in Clermont, where there is a lot going on right now. This could also mean that sellers' prices are still a little bit higher because maybe there's more competition in a certain neighborhood. All of these things can be possible according to what the data is showing us. But keep in mind, 5.5 months of inventory indicates a balanced market for both buyers and sellers. And we are right there with that 4.87 number. So as a seller, don't put all of your eggs in the basket of charging, 20% higher just because you think you'll get it, because we're no longer in COVID pricing days. Prices are coming down daily with listings because they're sitting on the market for a while. So let's dig into that. So in Mount Dora, homes are sitting an average of 60 days on market, which may seem high, but that's actually down a little bit from last month, about 1.64%. So these homes could be sitting on the market for a few reasons. We have a higher amount of inventory in the area than we have in the past, so buyers have a lot more choices when it comes to properties they make offers on. We're also seeing fewer multiple offer situations because we have this influx of existing and new properties coming onto the market. So again, for my sellers, gone are the days of pricing your home $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 higher to see what you can get for it. So now your pricing needs to be right even with that market value. And it's important to make those necessary upgrades if you want to sell your property quickly. Now, in Lake County overall, we are much lower on average days on market. We're sitting at about 46 days. This is almost 2 weeks less than Mount Dora as a whole. And the reason I think this is because property values are a little bit lower in Lake County overall compared to Mount Dora. So in Mount Dora, they're sitting at just above $405,000 right now, whereas in Lake County, we're sitting at just over $386,000. So that 20 grand is a huge gap when you're comparing single family homes or townhomes to purchase as an individual buyer. So I think that in Lake County overall, prices are less expensive in areas like Leesburg, where your value is just over $317,000. Or you look at Mascot, where it's about $335,000. So that's going to bring your overall values down quite a bit compared to Mount Dora. All of this to say, if you're on the hunt for a home in Mount Dora, you need to be working with an agent who can point you in the right direction when it comes to the best areas and homes for your specific price range. So all of my contact info is in the description box below. I would love to be your guide through this process. Next, I want to talk about a few other numbers. So we're seeing homes in Mount Dora sell for 97.9% of their list price, which means we're seeing a bit of negotiation when it comes to sales price of the home for buyers, but overall, prices are selling very close to what they're asking. This could be because homes are well priced when they're going to market, which is great, but also be because a buyer can afford that larger home with their money when they're making the transition from New York or California or even just certain spots in Orlando. So it's really going to depend on several factors, but this number is great news for sellers. This number is nearly the same in Lake County, sitting at 97.5%. So again, this is great news for sellers because they are getting what they're asking for their properties, which is amazing, but also buyers are able to negotiate better deals since there's maybe a little bit of wiggle room for seller concessions and there's less competition, and it makes for a smoother financing process when you have fewer appraisal issues. So I want to talk about a few trends that I'm seeing in Mount Dora and Lake County real estate that I think we'll continue to see throughout the month of March and into our spring real estate season. First thing is increased inventory. I am seeing more for sale signs pop up in neighborhoods all across the area, and I think one of the reasons is because we're coming out of an election year. So typically during an election year, people stop purchasing homes because they don't know what the outcome will be. We had a pretty crazy election season in 2024, so coming into 2025 with a new president, no matter how you lean politically, the housing market is seeing a bit of a rebound. We also saw a lot of volatility last year with interest rates. We all thought they would drop significantly, and they dropped a little bit towards the end of the year, but really not enough to make a massive difference. So as we round out quarter one of 2025 and step into quarter two, I think sellers are starting to realize that they've been waiting a while and there's no time like the present to make a move. On the other hand, I think buyers are starting to realize that we aren't going to see these massive drops in interest rates over the next year. So a lot of folks who have been sitting on the sidelines for the past 2, 3, maybe even 5 years after the COVID pandemic, they've needed or wanted to move but haven't yet. So right now I'm getting tons of messages from first-time home buyers who have been on the sidelines for years, waiting for it to be the right time, and now they need to move. So we're seeing these increases in inventory and homes coming onto the market, and I think we'll continue to over the next few months. I think we're also going to see significant price reductions over the next few months, and specifically in Mount Dora, this will be for 2 reasons. First, we have a lot of homes on the market that have been sitting for quite a while. So the average is 60 days on market. You think half of the homes that are selling are less than 60 days, but half are also sitting longer than 60 days. So sellers are having a hard time waiting longer for their properties to sell. So we will definitely be seeing even more price increases over the next several weeks to make those homes, those properties more attractive for buyers. We also have an abundance of new construction in the Mount Dora area right now. So sellers of existing homes have that to compete with as well. For a buyer, a new construction home might be a lot more attractive because they don't want to work to get into the property. They can move right in. They don't have to do any repairs or any fixes, and they can customize the home to their liking. On top of that, new construction developments are offering fantastic incentives right now. Things like 4.99% interest rates or covering 20 grand in closing costs and a lot more. So this makes the existing home that needs substantial work a little bit less attractive to a buyer who is just ready to move into something easy and get a great deal for it. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on if you're a buyer in Mount Dora. New construction is going to be a great way to go. And if you need any recommendations, browse through my channel. I have some amazing neighborhood tours for some new construction properties. You can also reach out to me and I'll send you a list of the current neighborhoods in the area and the incentives that they're offering. The age-old question, is this the time to buy or sell? Buyers, I want to talk to you first. If you're a buyer, you're in an interesting position right now in Mount Dora and in Lake County. You have a lot of houses to choose from, whether that be existing or resale. And from what I'm seeing working day to day in my local real estate market with my buyers, is that sellers are a lot more willing to negotiate on price or terms. So for instance, maybe a roof needs replaced. A seller is going to be a lot more flexible in entertaining that because there are so many homes on the market right now. And you could just as easily go to make an offer on a different existing home that's probably similar in price and features, or you could go new construction with some amazing incentives. I will say, if you are waiting for interest rates to drop, you will be waiting a while, my friend. The mortgage interest rate will likely not drop into the low sixes until late this year, even early 2026. So if you need to buy and you're ready to make a move now, we have some amazing down payment assistance programs for first-time buyers and just buyers here in the Central Florida area. We even have USDA loans in some zip codes, which could offer you no down payment. So if you're curious about what those numbers could look like for you, please reach out to me. I would love to get you connected with a local lender and let's explore your options to see what it looks like to buy this year. Now, for my sellers, when it comes to selling, you can tell from the numbers that the homes are still selling at or very close to list price. So as long as your home is priced well, you might be waiting a little bit longer, but you should have no issues selling. I always say that with the caveat of if your home needs significant repairs or if your home is on the older side, you may be waiting a little bit longer because those types of properties that need repairs and need a little bit of TLC often require a buyer who is flexible on price and terms and timelines. Those transactions tend to take a little bit longer, but it's also important to keep in mind buyers do have a lot of options in Mount Dora for new construction. So as you're working with your realtor to come up with a good strategy for your home price, consider any concessions that might be attractive. For instance, consider contributing $5,000 towards closing costs for your potential buyer. Just because you don't have to offer buyer's agent compensation doesn't mean that you shouldn't. As a buyer's agent who works primarily in Mount Dora, I've seen instances where a seller refuses to offer buyer's agent compensation and then the property sits for 20 to 30% longer because the seller refuses to compromise. So just because you don't have to offer it doesn't mean you shouldn't, because buyer's agents bring a lot of value to the table when it comes to clearly executing a transaction. And you want things to go smoothly on both sides. So be sure to talk with your seller's agent as you're preparing your home. And as always, if you're interested in me taking a look at your property to list it for you, I would love the opportunity. You can fill out my inquiry form in the description box below and I'll reach out to you soon to discuss your move. Every market is unique and Mount Dora is no exception. These numbers tell a story, but your personal situation is what matters most. So whether you're looking to buy your dream home or sell your current home, I always recommend chatting with a local real estate agent to get a comprehensive market analysis and someone that understands your specific neighborhood and your needs. If you found this real estate market update helpful for you, thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I post some great neighborhood tours and community tours and tell you a little bit more about life in Mount Dora. I'll see you for the next video. Thanks so much for being here.